Hi everyone, I'm Ali GREYMOND. This is the second part of the Q&A we did a few days ago. So I'm just answering questions again because I missed a week. So if you posted a question about 2 weeks ago under any of my videos, it's probably going to be either in the first part, but most likely in this part of the Q&A, so look out for that. Okay, so first question is it weird that anxiety makes me feel safe? I feel like if I let the anxiety go, what I fear is going to come true. And again, this can be a theme on its own, so choose to let the anxiety go. And just like I was saying in the first part, it will feel kind of like you're jumping out of an airplane with a parachute that may or may not open, and you have to get past it and jump. And you will see that, okay, the parachute opened, the anxiety went away, it was nothing, and you'll feel better for it. But you have to step over the fact that, yes, it does feel anxious. Yes, the anxiety is there. It's fine. There's nothing you can do about it. It's part of the recovery process. Next question is, hi Ali, thank you for your videos. They have been so informative for me, and I have found that coming from a position of power and being assertive is doing wonders for me. Exactly. It's coming from a position of power. That's really what it's about. Your brain doesn't understand what you're saying in terms of words, but it understands what you're saying in terms of power versus fear. So if you're coming from a position of power, you're doing the right thing, you will get better, you will recover. I wanted to ask, if you find your clients having thoughts latch on to their method of coming from a position of power. For example, what if I'm sounding too wobbly, nervous when I say it, and it doesn't work for me anymore, even though you feel confident as you say it? Also, I wondered if it gets a bit risky when you start to recover because you start questioning if you ever had it in the first place because it starts to feel less forceful. Well, with all of this, what you're doing is you're trying, it looks like the OCD grabbed onto the recovery process, and you're trying to really analyze the recovery. Yes, it's common. No, it's not good. No more analyzing. So what you want to say is anything that has to do with recovery is OCD. And when you do have recovery theme of OCD, all of these kinds of what-if questions are normal, but as they come up in your mind, don't answer them. Don't try to figure them out. Just let them be there. Okay, this is OCD asking me this. I'm not dealing with this. Again, what I was saying in the first part of the video, that you're walking down the corridor. There's things coming out of, the dark here and there. But you're walking down the center and there's a light at the end. And you just need to get to the light at the end. But you have to walk down the center and not grab onto things that are coming out of the sides. That's a visual example for you, right? That the thoughts can't hurt you. They can't get you. The only way they can get you is if you go over there and start reacting and start analyzing and dissecting. If you don't do it, it's not going to get you. But you do have to push through and do the work. So next question is, it's kind of a comment, is the person says, I have OCD in regards to sleep. And, OCD and sleep can sometimes, there's a connection there. So if you're talking about like a thought of, am I getting enough sleep? What if I'm not getting enough sleep and all of that? Again, you have to go with, I'm going to get as much sleep as I can get. And I'm just doing the best I can. And if I can't sleep, I can't sleep, So you're not attaching fear to it. It is going to be what it's going to be. If you're saying that you're having like a different theme of OCD and it's coming through in your sleep, or you're having nightmares or all that, that's normal part of recovery. It's because if you're not paying attention to OCD in conscious life, sometimes it comes through in the dreams, and it's just your mind trying to bring something to your attention. But because it's not able to bring it to your attention in waking life, it tries to bring it in your sleep. So I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but those are some of the possibilities. Helen, thanks a lot for your work. I often have a headache, like tension in my skull, and feeling of being bad uncomfortably, and just willing to lay down. And this is coming without reassurance or avoidance. Is this happening in the back of my mind when I'm sad, for example? The headache situation is very common in terms of OCD, because if you think about how much your mind is overworked with analyzing and reassuring and all of that, and even in the recovery work also overworks your mind. I would say for headaches as a separate thing, you really should do meditation, sleep more, and allow your mind to relax as much as it possibly can. The feeling of being bad, again, let it say that. It's saying it over here. You're walking over here. You don't care what it's saying. Just really focusing on putting a strong reaction to it. That whatever blah, blah, blah OCD is telling you, you're not answering it. You're just going down the center of the corridor towards the recovery. That's all you have to do. Next question is how to manage feelings of guilt and fear. I'm stuck at the thought for almost 2 months that scares me, and I regret a lot. Okay, so the more you allow these feelings of guilt, fear, regret to come into your to view their content as valid into your conscious mind, they're coming in, but it's how are you reacting? The more you're reacting as if, yeah, this is real, these are valid thoughts, you know, I need to pay a lot more attention to them, right? The more they're going to happen. They're symptoms of OCD, because your OCD is trying to mimic a real life situation. So it's trying to copy it, basically, right? It's also copying the feelings you would have if the situation was real, such as guilt, fear, all this stuff, right? Shame, regret, you know. So you have to view it just as a symptom, you know. It's when you get sick, you have a cold, you have runny nose. That's a symptom. With OCD, guilt, it's a symptom. Fear is part of the OCD. It's part of the package that is OCD. So viewing it as that and not actually adding importance to it. Next question is it OCD that I strive to remember actual past events? It is exhausting. It's a reassurance thing. You're trying to figure things out. You shouldn't be allowing yourself to do that. Somebody was saying, am I a real doctor? No, I'm not a real doctor. No. I've kind of, I don't know if you know the story of the process of my recovery and all of that, but basically after I recovered from OCD, it kind of slowly people started to ask me, well, can you help me recover and all of this, and became my full-time job. Now I'm, 8 years in to probably more, getting close to 9 years now, to helping people recover from OCD full time. So I have clients every single day, including weekends, and most of the people who I help recover, I do maintain that 80 to 90% average every month of people getting better. And I mean, everybody is in their kind of stages, right? So people don't usually recover in a month, but people progressively get better. Some already recover, some almost recover, some in the first stages. But if you take everybody over the course of a year, I would say that, 80 to 90% of people who I help recover. But most people are with me only for, I would say about 2 months is pretty standard, just because after that, they're like, well, I'm 90% recovered, or I'm fully recovered. It's not a program that's a long-term program. Because you don't really need it, and the recovery actually comes pretty quick when you're doing the right things. The difference between some doctors are saying that, oh, you can never recover or whatever, because I find that the one-on-one contact, and this is critical in terms of recovery, you need support. You need, my program offers text support in addition to doing more than once a week sessions. And when your OCD is really hard and you're really trying to recover, you do need to talk to somebody about it, to make sure you are following that middle of the corridor and going down towards recovery all the time. And that doesn't happen with once a week session, you know, for most people. When you're further along, yeah, but in the beginning, to start doing the work, to push through, you do need somebody to be there all the time, and to somebody to be there on text. And that's why my program is successful, is because there is that option for those people that need it, you know, and with that help, they make the first push, they get better and better and better, and then they recover. You know, it's pretty mechanical in its operation, you know, and that's why it's kind of all the, you know, details have been ironed out and it works well, and that's why the high success rate. It's not magic, it's work, you know. I work to help my client with, you know, the amount of help that specific person needs, and I make sure that they work on pushing through from their end, because it's, you know, they need certain amount of help from me, and if I don't provide that, they can't get better. And I need them to work on their recovery, because no matter how hard I push, if they're not doing the work, they can't recover either. So it's a joint effort to make them recover. And a lot of the times I also involve family in the process of recovery, because I find that doing sessions not just with the person who's recovering, but also the family helps put everybody on the same page, and who is interested, right, in terms of family members, right? But everybody gets on the same page and works with the person, not reassuring them, not giving them, understanding the process of recovery and helping, you know. So that's why the success. It's not magic. It's not me just saying it. It actually does work, but there's reasons why it actually does work. Next question is, hi Ali, once we are out of it, are cured of OCD, what do you have to do to prevent another relapse? So, okay. In terms of preventing another relapse, first of all, there was another question here. I don't know if I've missed it or I didn't. I kind of glanced at it, but I don't know if I missed it or I've already answered in the first one. I don't think I did. Anyways, I'll answer both, and if I get to it, I'll just move past it. So the original question was, what do you consider recovery? And then also, I'll answer this one in terms of relapses. So first of all, the recovery. I like to be safe in terms of knowing that the client has fully recovered. So I want to have about 6 months of actual proof that the person has recovered. Because during 6 months, you're going to go through the good times, you're going to go through the bad times, you're going to go through stress, you're going to go through fun. You know, there's different things that are going to happen to you. And if you can go through it and not get caught up in OCD, then you're recovered. You know, in terms of relapse, up to 6 months, the kind of possibility of relapse. So as soon as you recover, your relapse possibility is really high, right? And then as the time goes on, it becomes less and less likely, because you get more secure in your recovery. So in the beginning, you really have to, as you pulled out of your theme, you feel better. You have to really watch where your thoughts are. And if you feel like your brain is trying to switch to some other theme, you better prevent it before it gets worse. Now, this is not going to happen for the course of your entire life or even for a long period of time. But for the first few months, when you just recovered, really watch it. Watch your stress levels. Where are my thoughts? Am I reacting with fear? Am I getting caught up in something? Is something that's really shouldn't bother most people bothering me? So really kind of paying attention to all those things will prevent a relapse. But, you know, I would say that if you had no OCD thoughts for 6 months, because they kind of start to fade. They get, you know, maybe you'll get a thought a week, then you'll get a thought a month, then you get a thought every 2-3 months, and then, you know, it goes away and it kind of just fades. And again, you know, going back to the other, I think we did this in part 1. The question was, you know, do normal people, who's normal really, but do people without OCD get OCD type thoughts? And yes, they do, but they don't react to them. So, you know, if you think of that they're doing studies now saying that people get about 50,000 thoughts a day, you know, 50,000 thoughts. Some of them are going to be pretty messed up, okay? That's just honesty, right? So if you get a thought, it doesn't really matter, you know, but we need, I like to have that longevity a little bit where we can see that, okay, the person is doing fine, even with getting different thoughts, even with stress, even with various life situations. And then, you know, yes, you have truly recovered, you know? Next question is, today I got tricked again by OCD, worrying, feeling guilty, and obsessing over not so much me doing something wrong, but someone else doing something morally wrong. Later I realized it was OCD, had all the characteristics, felt guilt, fear, urgency to contact and get reassurance from them and check with them about the issue. Perfect. Exactly. So you always have to understand the pattern. This person understanding the pattern, pushing through, beautiful. Exactly. And it can't get you, because when you see the pattern of it, you stop being scared of it and you see it for what it really is. Yes, the little bit of fear is still there, obviously, but you do feel that power coming back. Was triggered by a person on the radio show. Just such a natural instinct for me to react. Wonder what is the best steps to take in this situation at the beginning. I would say really doing more exposures of this sort. So no matter what somebody says, so listening. So if somebody on the radio made you react with fear, listening more to the radio. You know, so pushing through and saying, you know, never do this where you're like, I can't do this anymore, it's giving me anxiety, I better just stay away from the radio, for example, entirely, right? That's not good. You have to push through and show OCD that you can be in any situation and still not get triggered. But when you put yourself in that situation, being mindful that OCD will most likely come up, and then when it does, you're going to have to react correctly. Would it have been better to stop, breathe, postpone doing anything? Sometimes I don't feel and think first, I just react. Any advice? It's a lot of the times that's what happens, is you don't really even have time to think, you just react. So as you realize you've already reacted, then pulling back. You know, it's hard because it happens so fast, it's hard to react right away correctly. But especially when you have history of reacting the wrong way. But as you go through it, you will see that you start more and more, you'll start to react differently. You'll start to react better. Also, why do I get so involved in other people's business? Is it just another form of OCD? Yeah, this is just what OCD attaches for you too. I come across as controlling, but actually it is the OCD controlling me. Yeah, and it's choosing not to do this. So this is your theme. You know your theme. When something comes up that triggers it, as soon as you can, as soon as you do realize that it's OCD, not doing the compulsion. So if it tells you to try to figure it out, ask, you know, kind of dig into it, don't dig in. Don't dig. That's the whole thing. Walk down the middle of the corridor. Whatever is happening here doesn't matter. Next question is, hi ma'am, my sensory motor OCD started around 8.5 years ago. The twist is that now I don't focus on my bodily processes, but the sensory motor problem happens automatically. My doctor says it happens due to thoughtless anxiety all the time. Please give me the solution. Again, the reaction. You're reacting, it's going to continue to happen. If you react until you're 90 years old, it's going to continue until you're 90 years old. You know, it's not a time thing. It won't go away by itself. You have to know that this is your theme, and I'm choosing not to react to my usual everyday kind of theme. Next question is, hi Ali, thank you for all that you do. Guys, thank you for nice comments. I'm really happy that I can help. I have been following your recovery channel for 3 months now, doing all that you have been teaching, disregarding with power and saying the intrusive harm thoughts are irrelevant. Good. And it has been a million times better, of course. Lately, stress has been a little higher with work and bills, and I don't feel the thoughts have been attaching to those and making harm OCD come back, but not nearly with high anxiety like when I first discovered OCD. I felt like my recovery was going very well, but then these stressful situations sort of restarted my recovery process again. What do you think I should do? Thank you so much in advance. You know, and hashtag keep pushing. Yeah, keep pushing. You know, it's harder when you have to deal with stress, but it's part of what you're gonna have to deal with in life from time to time. And it's, you know, you have to do the work. You know, you have to do the work when it's hard. And what you can say to yourself that when things get easier in real life, OCD will be a breeze to get through. You know, so right now it's just a harder time. Being more focused during this time on your recovery. I know you have to focus on real life right now because of the stress, but you also have to focus on your recovery. So don't forget your recovery as things get a little harder. I have a question about a physical symptom that I feel since the start of my recovery. I feel this tightening stiffness at the place where my neck muscles and the base of my skull meet, and it spreads to my eye. I feel this all the time for 2 years now. I'd like to know, should I try to do anything about this or just disregard it? It puzzles me because I feel it in only one localized part of my head. I've looked up similar symptoms online. Some people mentioned trigger point massage. So to summarize, should I give the trigger point massage a go or try to disregard the feeling? Have to say it's pretty tough to ignore it when it feels so discomforting. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. You know what? I'm really happy to help. Thank you for the kind words. I do think that as long as it's hard for me to tell if this is an OCD thing or if it's a real thing. It sounds like you really are experiencing it. And when you have anxiety a lot of the time can come with actual physical symptoms. So I don't think massage is a bad idea. As long as, you know, you have to watch where your thoughts are when you're doing the massage and make sure you're not doing it from a position of fear. As long as you're not, as long as you're doing it because you actually want to relieve the tension, I think that that's fine, you know, but really watch the fear thing. Next question is, Ali, I have a question for you. When the obsession comes during the day, I'm back in the groove at talking to the OCD and saying, I'm not going to deal with this, and then moving on with my life. However, what about at night when I'm trying to fall asleep? I think this has been a place where OCD has gained ground on me in the past because I'm trying to sleep and I don't want to talk back to it. How do you deal with the obsession after obsession when trying to fall asleep? On the other hand, I'm trying to relax, but at the same time, I don't want to let this be a chance for OCD to regain lost ground. What should I do so I can keep my OCD progress and still fall asleep during the barrage of thoughts? Try to just watch the thoughts, but if you feel like it's really keeping you from going to sleep, I would say go to bed when you're actually feeling tired. Because if you're kind of laying there and you end up feeding OCD, that's not good. So it will be different every night, and sometimes you'll be able to just watch them and drift off to sleep. Try to view your thoughts as kind of a stream and diverting that stream away from OCD to another topic entirely. So if you're laying there and OCD thoughts are coming and you can't just watch them, try to think, okay, I'm going to try to think of, say, my finances, something logical, you know, because logical stuff is very different from abstract OCD thoughts and, you know, trying to figure it out. So you're diverting your attention to something else that you can figure out that is actually real, right? Or something mathematical often helps to get the mind away from OCD. So those kinds of things help. But if you feel like you're just, you know, there's no way you're going to fall asleep in the next half hour, get up, do something, come back to bed, you know, so you're not gaining, so you're not losing ground. Next question is, are you 100% recovered? You never have any OCD thoughts. So yeah, I'm 100% recovered. I've been recovered for years and years. But in terms of thoughts, everybody gets thoughts. But I never have thoughts that cause extreme anxiety like I did when I had an OCD. So it's, you know, I mean, it's what you would consider within normal average parameters, you know. So it's really, it doesn't really take long to recover, to be honest. Unless your situation is very severe, it doesn't take that long, but you do have to be focused. And anybody can get any type of thoughts. So in terms of, are you always getting normal thoughts, or are you never having an anxious moment ever in your life, or a sad moment, or you know, we all have different moments, but if your level of anxiety is higher than most people, you have to work at getting it down. You know, my level of anxiety is never really high ever, you know, so I mean, in like real life stressful situation, yes, but you know, if you're asking me, does it fully really go away? Yes, it fully really goes away. You will get reassurance in the end that this was all for nothing. You will get reassurance in the end that, that you're seeking right now, but right now you need to push through the fear that you're feeling before you can get that reassurance. Please go into detail about how you deal with feelings like you want your theme and then wondering if you have done what your theme is. For example, walking by a kid and had to step over the foot and feel urges and feelings, and then walking over their foot, but I'm worrying, what if I touch their foot with mine, and then walking on, stressing off about it and stuff like that. So, okay. So again, the problem here is you trying to figure things out. There's no actual issue. Sounds like this is a false memory OCD. You know, it's pretty typical. I mean, you know, I hear those kinds of things every day. You know, what if I walk by and touch somebody? What if I hit somebody? What if I am going to touch somebody, hit somebody? You know, so this is all common things. But the attention, don't give it attention, don't dig, don't solve, you know, and don't try to analyze, because did I want it, do I want it, you know, all those things, that's what's sucking you into this OCD stuff, you know, don't do it. So say, this is my typical OCD theme, I'm not reacting, I'm not analyzing, I'm not comparing, I'm choosing to move on. So, and just pushing through every day. Some days are going to be better, some days are going to be worse, but the more you push through, the faster you recover. So, and the more you do this, you will see that it works. I'm pretty sure you've already seen that it works before, and you're just having kind of a little bit of a setback. So it will pass. You just have to keep pushing. That's all the time I have for the questions. I'm going to see how many I have and either do a part 3 or just answer, just write my answer under the comment. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to do the recovery program, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.